We heard panelists right now speak about the weak laws. Would you agree to this? Because what should have been a brilliant crime thriller is reality. What's happened with Darshan and the entire Darshan's case, the way it's unfolding, is not a movie. It's reality. It's shocking. And see that this played out, one on social media and then eventually in real life. There were murders that took place, orchestrated possibly by the actor, which is sub judice right now. He's been arrested in this particular case. But what could have, one, been done to ensure that this was followed up correctly, legally?
My hero can do no wrong. That is what this unruly and some of the lumen elements among the fan following feel. And they have come in huge numbers to give their so-called moral support to their hero, who is being accused of a murder case now. And this particular person, this is not the first time, as Brinda Adige has mentioned, that he has already had a number of run-ins with the law. The police can act very, very sternly, but they are also the back footing, because a lot of these fan following leaders are also part-time politicians, and it is no difficult task for the police to drive away these fans by giving a good whacking of a lathi charge and disperse them. But that is not what the politicians want over there. So as a result, their work gets hampered very badly, and it is the fans who think that real life and real life are one and same, and this toxic hero worship, which they take it to no ends. And a good number of them are jobless people, and they are swayed by the swag or the attitude of the so-called heroes, and they think that crime is the best way to get away. But we also have to take a lot of blame, because despite police doing its best over there, none of these cases end up in conviction over there. The victim is the last person to be given sympathy.
That's true.
The victim
a huge
is
challenge.
Not considered anywhere at all. It is the perpetrator who is given all the support by everybody over there, and the perpetrator has more friends, more supporters, and among the police, among politicians, and finally the law is also so labyrinthine, and saying that the prosecution failed to convince the jury, so they go scot-free. Otherwise, it is no difficult. The police are very, very capable of giving a good whacking to these fans and driving them away. But because they are sponsored by a lot of politicians, they don't.
Mr. Bhaskar Rao, I mean,
and you will
while
see, you
you're
mark
talking
my
about
words,
the conviction rates and how
these people
low they
will go
really
scot-free.
Mr. Bhaskar Rao, I have one question, and in this particular case, obviously,
they will go scot-free.
Actor Darshan seems to be a complete perpetrator, in the sense that he seems to be he seems to have orchestrated this. The police are claiming that he was there in the crime scene when the victim in this particular case was being allegedly tortured. So that's, of course, sub judice, that's being probed by the police. The remand report says that there was almost 5 lakh rupees that was offered by somebody, we don't know by whom, but was offered to not name Darshan and to take the blame for this particular case. This is Darshan's case.
See, pressures will be there.
If we look at other cases, I want to ask you a question.
See, pressures will be there.
If the actor remains silent, is he culpable for perpetuating a crime? Can a case be booked against an actor for silence?
100%. 100%, as Brinda said, these people have huge support base. Every action of the fans, the actor is vicariously responsible if he has not prevented them from acting. In fact, he needs them. Women don't have that many fans, but these men have a lot of fans who are generally very lumen elements and rowdy elements over there, and for their work to get endorsed over there, for them to give some kind of a build-up and publicity, they need these kind of people. So they never prevent. In the year 2020, when I was Commissioner of Police, on the birthday of this particular perpetrator, a policeman was very badly injured in a stone pelting case, because he wanted to restore some law and order in front of the house, because the neighbors were very upset that whole night the supporters had created a ruckus in front of the house over there. And finally that case never saw the end of the day, because investigation also fell through, and the person, the police constable, was very badly injured. We had to support him, and finally when I left the city, I thought I came to know that the case has fallen through and nothing has happened. It is true. These people are
Brijesh
supported
Kalappa also
well by a lot
joins
of
us at this
people.
point. Brijesh Kalappa, the way this particular case is panning out, what would you say to one? There are two aspects to this. And the point is why many people are arguing that there is no difference between a real and a real life. There seems to be also no difference between a threat of crime, say a threat of rape or threat of murder on the internet to somebody being murdered in real life. That's also the reality of today's crime. How should anybody tackle this?
See, I think the first thing is that as far as there are different types of crimes, and Mr. Bhaskar Rao will attest to what I'm saying, that one is a heinous crime which has now been committed where, somebody has been killed. Now, these are lesser grades of crimes, the kinds of crimes that you're speaking about where somebody is trolling and so on and so forth. So, of course, they're all crimes, but one can't be equated with another. So we'll be guilty of comparing apples to oranges. As far as the trolling aspect is concerned, if there is trolling, there is a means of stopping this trolling, right? There are defamation cases you can file. One, two, you can find out what the IP address of the troller is, and then you can take action. The police can be asked to take action after filing a police complaint. Of course, the policing system has also gone haywire, but that's not the point. If the policing system had gone haywire, Mr. Darshan would certainly have been able to find recourse because he's a powerful guy. So if somebody was trolling his so-called girlfriend or wife or whoever she is, then he had recourse to that. And killing somebody because I was being trolled or somebody was being trolled is not a solution. I think that we'll have to put that there. That's the first part. Second part is that as far as the crime is concerned, now you also mentioned earlier that there was a second crime, that one is you've already killed somebody. Now you're trying to get somebody else to take the flak. Now there are separate charges which will have to be charged on this gentleman. One for murder, then two for trying to bring somebody else into the whole bargain and try to shift the responsibility on somebody else. These are all separate charges. Now, for instance, when the matter comes before court, he will have to face all these separate charges. One, of course, is for murder, and the second is to ensure that somebody else takes the flak for what you have done. And these are all equal crimes in the IPC.
No, absolutely. But my last two questions, we are just left with a minute. Maybe I can just go to Bhaskar Rao. Bhaskar Rao, would you see this as a case of isolation? I mean, and I ideally would have wanted another panelist, the woman panelist also to speak. So if you could just tell me in 30 seconds with your experience with what's happening in Darshan's case. Now, you may not have a Darshan, you may not have a case like Actor Darshan earlier, but yet, would you see this in isolation?
No, as my friend Brijesh mentioned, there is every likelihood there are people who are there to protect the actual accused by means of money, etc. This happens, like what happened in the Pune case, the Pune Porsche case also over there. This is quite real. But I can tell you one thing, given the record of these fellows, nothing is going to happen. This guy is going to go scot-free.
How unfortunate for a former IPS officer, a top cop, to be saying this on this show. This is a complete slap on our system if this comes true.
I am telling you the truth.
30 seconds to you before I wind up the show.
Yeah, I am telling you the truth.
Absolutely unfortunate. This is the worst thing that I could possibly hear even as I conclude this show. It just shows what are we really banging our head against. But Brinda Adige, 30 seconds. I really have to go over. I have to move on after that.
Yeah, Digital India, and we have Technology IT Act. And there is no teeth to that act where the police can take action. You know, and I know that women are also trolled, like you mentioned. And there's nothing that we can do. And going and registering a case in the police station and tedious, cumbersome processes in the court takes its toll mostly on